Hi everybody and welcome to ECTV Live. This is Tom Munley with my wonderful co-host David the Cosmo. We are so happy to be here again and we have a great show today. We have a gentleman by the name of Martin Reynolds who's going to talk about Christy Mathewson days in Factoryville. And David, I'm a big baseball fan. I love baseball. I watch it all the time. I like the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Phillies. So I like it. And Christy Mathewson, and we'll tell you who he is, because I went to the Hall of Fame with my son Logan a couple months ago. One of the first pictures I saw, Christy Mathewson. He was then inducted into the Hall of Fame, one of the first members ever inducted into the Hall of Fame. He only lived to be 45 years of age. We'll talk about that also. David?
Well, I'm also a big baseball fan. I've even taken the liberty of wearing my baseball tie today. As you know, on ECTV Live, we have been trying to draw your attention to events that are important not only to specific local communities in northeastern Pennsylvania, but really to the whole area. And most of the events that we have presented thus far have been singular events. They run on a particular day, perhaps two. Christy Mathewson Days is just a little longer than that, and it's centered in Factoryville and in Lackawanna County. And Mr. Reynolds, we can't assume that everybody knows Christy Mathewson, so we ought to start by telling people just who he was. A little bit, if you will, about Christy Mathewson.
Well, he was born in the late 19th century in Factoryville. He attended Keystone Academy, which is what it was called well before it was Keystone College. He played professional baseball for the New York Giants and was an exceptional pitcher. Plenty of no-hitter games pitched. Wrote a couple books on how to be a pitcher. He was also served in World War I, which was where he was exposed to mustard gas, which led to his early demise, I guess to say. And as the judge said, he was one of the first people inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
Now, how did Christy Mathewson Days come about? Obviously, he has that local background. Factoryville, for those that don't know, is a rather small community and basically a rural setting. And yet, for this event, it becomes the center of attention, certainly in Lackawanna County, if not throughout our entire area. So how did it get started that we have these special celebratory days?
Oh, we've always taken great pride to have, be able to say we have one of the first members of the Baseball Hall of Fame that come from our town. And, it's been something that was always at least mentioned on the sign as you went into town. So we, a couple of the various community groups decided to make something out of it since we really didn't have anything else. We hadn't had a carnival in a long time. So this is what they came up with, quite some time ago. So, we've got the Men's Civic League, the Women's Civic League, Rotary, our church groups, and a couple others, the high school and everyone else just came together as one group and started putting things together.
Now, David, we're going to talk about Christy Mathewson days, but I do want to say one thing, and I got these facts off the internet. I'm not going to profess that I'm an expert on Christy Mathewson, but he had 373 career wins. How about that?
Wow.
Third on the all-time list of wins. And he had 15 full seasons. His ERA was less than 3 points. I mean, this guy was amazing. He did, just to do what he was able to do. I think he had, from what I remember, he had 12 consecutive seasons with 20 wins or more. You don't see that today, David.
No. And when you think about it, there are some of the classic baseball players, and of course Babe Ruth automatically comes to mind, and there in the Baltimore area where he was brought up, some of the places where you could often find him are now preserved and they're special attractions. And I guess this is one in our own backyard. We don't have too many right in our own area. But as you just mentioned, it really pulls the community together, this event.
Oh yeah, one of the things we actually say is there's usually more people in the parade than there are watching the parade because everybody wants to be a part of it.
Yeah.
One thing that interested me, and I saw it in the program here, it says here, Thursday, August 12th. Well, first of all, it runs for 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But Thursday, August 12th at 7 p.m., Maddie, An Evening with Christy Mathewson, a one-man play starring Eddie Frierson.
Yeah,
Did you ever attend this play in years gone by?
long time ago, but I'm planning on going again this year. He does an excellent job, does a lot for one man, and since he comes all the way out to see us every other year to do this.
Where's this Eddie Frierson from? Do you know?
Offhand, I can't remember.
Okay, but he's not local.
Yeah, he's not local, and has no ties to Factoryville at all that I'm really aware of. But he is the closest thing to Christy Mathewson himself that you could ever have.
Oh.
This is
Amazing.
a little advertisement. I believe that's his photo.
Yeah,
that's
Maddie.
on there, and he dresses, in the baseball uniform. And what does he do then? Sort of basically talk about the history of Christy Mathewson?
Yeah, his life and experiences, and it's an amazing thing to see.
And of course, his life wasn't all about
That's right,
baseball. He
yeah.
grew up in the area, and as you said, attended what is now Keystone College.
Yeah.
He is buried in Lewisburg, and the gates to the football stadium there are named in his honor, Mathewson Gates, at Bucknell University. What will we see if we come to Christy Mathewson Days? Take it right from day one right on through. Give us an idea as to what's on the schedule.
On Thursday, there's memorabilia on display at Keystone College, and we're actually having someone come in to appraise it because it hasn't been checked in a while, so they just want to know what it's worth now again.
Who owns this memorabilia?
The college has it.
Okay.
Eder Frierson will be doing his play on Thursday night, and then on Friday, we're having a young woman who's from the area, and her husband just produced a documentary about the Christy Mathewson Days, not specifically Mathewson, but the community coming together to put these events on all these years, and they're going to be premiering their documentary on Friday night. And then on Saturday morning, we have the Big Six Mathewson Run and Walk. It's a 6K run instead of a 5K because Christy Mathewson is known as the Big Six, so we throw in the extra kilometer. After that, there's a
You run?
Yep.
Wow, that's unbelievable. David and I will not be there running. We might be at the play, but we won't be there running.
After the race, there's a breakfast for the participants, and then everyone lines up for the parade. The parade kicks off at 11, goes right down to Christy Mathewson Park, which is behind the Lackawanna Trail Elementary School. And then once everybody's at the park, there's all kinds of stuff to do. And there's going to be a quarter fair, basket raffles. The Rotary Club that I'm a part of is having an apple pie bake-off. There's going to be a Little League exhibition game. There's going to be...
Yeah, I saw that. It said All-Star... Tell me something about that. All-Star baseball game. Little kids are playing?
Yeah, it's Little
Kids
League
who made
baseball
the
game.
All-Stars?
Yeah, and they're playing another team. I can't recall from where they're from, but it's just going to be an exhibition game just for everybody to enjoy.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's wonderful for the kids and the adults.
Yeah.
Now the parade, and you have your scrapbook here with some pictures of previous parades. Here again, this is so unique. Parades are not, but when you see them in a small town setting, a small town atmosphere, they mean even more. And as you said, you have more people in the parade than perhaps are there to view it. And I gather that all the organizations get involved with this, whether it be your local fire company or your local civic group. Everybody wants to march and be a part of that. How important is that to bring the community together on a project like this?
Oh, it's very important. I mean, if you're going to have an event for the community, you want everybody as involved as you can, just because not everybody always realizes how much work really has to go into even just organizing a parade. It's phone call after phone call after phone call. So you want as many people to be in it and to show up to see it, because why do all the work?
Sure.
So,
and I gather actually that work is almost a year-round type thing to plan a
Yep.
3-day event. You're probably working on next year's before this one actually is held.
You know what I want to tell you? I spent some time at Keystone College. It's a great place, first of all. And as I said, I love baseball. So I read up a little bit about Christy Mathewson, and I looked at the internet today. But to have this event for 3 days, I mean, it's amazing because the people are excited for 3 days. It's not just a 1 hour event, 2 hour event once a year. Like it's 3 full days of activities. Are you going all day long for the 3 days?
Oh, there's a whole crew of us that are doing it. I have to actually say, just to be on the safe side, that my wife is the chairman of the whole committee that puts everything together. So
Always mention your wife.
Yep.
That's very good. That's very good. That's very good.
She's the president of the Women's Civic League, and she got appointed to the chairmanship for handling this. But there have been a whole crew of other people from all the other organizations that have had their part to do.
Do you ever have anybody from Lackawanna County that gets involved with this? Because I know it really now. Keystone is partly in Lackawanna County, isn't it? And it's partly in Wyoming County.
Yes.
But Christy Mathewson was born and raised in Wyoming County. Am I right? Mm-hmm. So do you ever have anybody from our county here, Lackawanna County, help out with this event?
Top of my head, I can't recall, but
Probably plenty attending.
We're right there on the border of the county, so
right. I'm sure they attend. A lot of people from Lackawanna County. I'd like to go to the play by Eddie Fearson, An Evening with Christy Mathewson. That's probably great. A one man show. I usually like one man shows. They're really good.
Yeah, and well, your attention can be focused so specifically, and I, on the other hand, am interested in that memorabilia you mentioned. As we do our show. Last week, Alex Rodriguez of the Yankees became, I think, the 7th baseball player to have hit 600 or more home runs. And as they were pitching to him for the past few weeks, trying to get that 600th home run, they have been using specially marked baseballs.
That's right.
So that when the baseball was retrieved by someone, they would know exactly that it was the right ball. What type of memorabilia from him, especially with regard to his baseball days, do you you said you're going to have it appraised. What's there?
Uniforms, gloves, hats, just basic stuff.
And because he's in the Hall of Fame, David, they're worth a fortune. I know some I have baseball cards. I mean, I don't have them, but my sons used to collect baseball cards. They're worth a lot of money. I remember. I'll give you an example. One day, my little son Tom, he's older now, but he's in his 30s. But he asked me if I'd buy him a Mickey Mantle rookie card. It was like $1,200 or $1,800. I said, no way, I'm not spending $1,800. No, that card today is worth $50,000 or $60,000. 20 years later, and I didn't buy it.
Well, and remember that during the era that Mathewson played, which was the so-called dead ball era, there are fewer things that have been preserved from that time period. And if anyone were to look at a baseball glove from that period and then go into one of your markets today and try to buy a baseball glove, the glove that you buy probably has 15 times more padding in it today than those gloves had then. But if you have something like an original New York Giants uniform and that hat, the glove, in his case, the glove would be more valuable than a bat because, of course, he made his fame as a pitcher.
That's right.
Is this an event that really draws people from our entire area? Do you find people coming in? You mentioned the logistics, Judge, and concerning the Lackawanna, Wyoming County border there, but you're just as close to New York State, too. You find people coming from all over to these events?
Yeah, we get a pretty good draw. I mean, baseball fans will pretty much go wherever they are willing to go to just, suck up some of the more experience of finding out about older players and things like that. They, like anyone else who travels because of some hobby of theirs. So, we get people from all over.
Martin, what does this mean? Because this caught my interest also. When David mentioned the memorabilia, and it says here, limited, 3 items per person. Do you know what that means? Like, can you buy these items, but you're limited to?
I think what that is, the person who's going to be there appraising is also going to let other people from the community bring in their antiques to have them appraised.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
And Judge, I have Dominic DiMaggio's baseball uniform.
Do you really?
I do. I came through the family. Unfortunately, not documentation with it, but I have the jersey, the pants, and the socks, the Red Sox. So that is something I could bring to this appraiser.
Right. That's right.
And I would have him be able to have a
And
look
you
at
should.
it and give me an
I
idea.
mean, Dominic DiMaggio is Joe DiMaggio's brother. For the
Right.
people who are watching this, but David, that's
And he was a great Boston player,
Right.
but he was overshadowed
he
by.
lived in Joe DiMaggio's shadow. That's what happened.
Just
You're right.
passed away last year. So this is the kind of thing. Is he the appraiser will be particularly knowledgeable in baseball type items then?
Yes.
Okay, so that's I may be there. You may see me there. I'll be the one.
Are you going to be wearing the uniform, David?
I used to. I used to put it on, but it is nonetheless in very good conditions. I didn't use it to play.
That's wonderful.
To play baseball, but that's a great opportunity for people to come and have something looked at and get an idea of the value.
I have to say this about David. When David and I worked together at WYOU for 10 years, and David, we used to have a baseball team, WYOU, and David was our star player.
Well, I was the pitcher.
He was
right?
always the best, yeah. Yeah, he was always, we used to play different, David was always the best one.
always enjoyed it. What do you tell people? Suppose we have somebody watching us today from down, let's say, in Luzerne County, and this is a great event. The man was certainly an icon of the baseball world, but what is it that will prompt them to come to the festival?
Well, if they have a love of baseball, they just want to learn more about one of the greats that came from the area. I mean, like I said, we don't have too many other people from around here that could claim such, athletic feats, let alone, of course, being one of the first persons into the Baseball Hall of Fame. You really don't come by many of those anywhere you go. So, and then also just all the great events that we have planned, Eddie Fryerson's play, something that you really shouldn't miss. And then the documentary, and just learn about the quirkiness of a little town on the edge of Wyoming County. And then, if you're not a runner and don't want to run in the race, you can at least show up and see the parade, and then, come to the apple pie bake-off or go to the quarter fair or watch the kids enjoy the game that, we're celebrating.
The parade's on Saturday, correct?
Yes.
All right. But you know what? We were talking about baseball, David, and baseball is still America's, the national pastime for sports. I know people love football, but look at the Baseball Hall of Fame and the visitors versus the Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. There's no comparison. I mean, you talk about, we're talking about Joe DiMaggio. We're talking about his brother, Christy Mathewson. You don't talk about football players from 30 or 40 years ago. These guys are 100 years ago. That's how much more important. People love baseball.
But what also draws them there is you said, the run and walk, and you can see from these photos from your album, there's always a big crowd of runners. Runners like to go to run, but it's amazing. They'll go to something like this, and then after the run, they've got other things they can do. I gather that overall, it's kind of like a carnival-like atmosphere for the days?
Saturday especially, just because we all gather together down at Christy Mathewson Park, which is the Little League field behind the elementary school. So it's got a very much carnival atmosphere for that.
And are there vendors there as well? And
yeah, there's some local businesses selling things, ice cream, barbecue chicken, things like that.
So this is a kind of really, you could bring the family for the day and really just enjoy that atmosphere, and maybe pick up some knowledge about the man for whom this event is named as well. How many runners usually participate in the annual run and walk?
Probably around 150 or so.
And you're one of them.
Well,
You win this run?
oh goodness, no.
It's got to be a little unique, because you said it's a 6K, and that because of his number was number 6. But interestingly, and if you're a runner, you know that people generally train for specific races.
Yeah.
And since most are 5K races, you've got to find some of the regulars even maybe straining a little at the end of this. Where is the run conducted?
Well, we actually have a new course this year because the old one was considered a little too hard, partly because of the terrain, partly because of the length. But the new course is going to go through the center of town, turn left out of what's known as Creekside Road. Once you get partway out that, it will turn around and come back the same road, back onto College Ave, then through Christy Mathewson Park itself, down another side street in town. That'll bring it back again to College Ave and back to Keystone College.
By the way, Factoryville's a great town, David. I go up to watch the Keystone College baseball games. The head coach is a good friend of mine, so I go to watch some of his games. They have a great baseball team at Keystone College. I want to say that. And if a couple of the players from Keystone this year got drafted.
Yes, they did.
And that, I mean, can you imagine that, David? I'm not talking about drafted into the major leagues. They don't go right to the major leagues. You go into the instructional league, single A, double A. But can you imagine that? That's quite a feat for a small college in Northeast Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah, they're very proud of their team down there.
Keystone, of course, is a very important part of our community. And when I say our community, I don't just mean Factoryville. Keystone is a very important part of northeastern Pennsylvania as an educational institution. I would gather that they are also a pretty important part of the activities here in terms of support, in terms of providing facilities.
Yeah, they provide us with the start and stop location of the race. They also put on a breakfast for the race participants and the parade participants immediately following the race, right before the parade. And what else was I going to say?
Well, again, there's the play is held at the.
Oh, and the play is held at the Brooks Theater on campus.
On campus, because I am going to go to that, David. I want to see this one-man play. It's Thursday night at 7 o'clock. I'm going to go to that.
Now, one thing we always have to ask about, in fairness, is the cost of everything to someone who might want to bring a family to one or more of these events. So what kind of cost are we talking about?
The play and the documentary on Friday, they're $3 for adults, $2 for children.
Right.
And
Can't beat that price, David.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. $3 for adults for the play on Thursday evening, $2 for children under 12. It's pretty good.
How about those who would like to enter the run or the walk?
It's a $15 entry fee. There are flyers and sign-up sheets all over the place at local businesses, probably here in Scranton all the way up to Binghamton probably by now. Got them spread far and wide. Other than that, you can probably go online to the Factoryville website and track one down that way.
And how about a family that just wants to come up and watch the run, watch the walk, see the parade, which is one of the biggest events in that area? What's it going to cost them?
To just come see the parade or watch the race, that costs nothing. Just you guys got to find a parking spot and a good place to stand.
And for the appraiser that we mentioned, is there any charge for having those items appraised?
I don't believe so.
So really, you can come up there just as a family outing for, especially Saturdays seems to be the big day in terms of all those events, and not really have to invest anything at all other than some time and have a lot of fun. Maybe learn something at the same time. One thing we skipped over, Judge, is that, and we should mention this because our guest is not only a hard worker with all these events, but can trace his family history back to Christy Mathewson.
Is that right, Martin?
Yes.
I was unaware of that. Tell us about that.
I can't remember the exact term to put it, but it would say he was a very, very distant cousin, but nonetheless family.
Well, that's something.
I think it means a lot more to you because of that, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was thinking. As I said, he died at 45. He got sick in World War I. You said the mustard gas, and I mean he didn't really have much of a chance after that. He was such a great baseball player, though. I have a 10-year-old son. I was teaching him about Christy Mathewson when we were up at the Hall of Fame, and he never heard of him, of course. But I said he's 10 miles from 12 miles from Scranton. That's where he was born and raised. I mean, that's amazing when you think about it, David.
And I think it's so valuable for a community to honor somebody like this and to preserve his memory, because all that I've heard about him was that in addition to his tremendous athletic ability, he was a gentleman. And it's well for young people to learn some of those values
That's right.
that come from perhaps that small town atmosphere.
That's right. That's a good point. Because I read that you know, a lot of the baseball players used to like the Croswell, not him. He was, as you said, he was just a nice gentleman who liked to just keep his own company, and he was a very low-profile guy, and he never turned a kid down for an autograph. It's amazing.
Probably be surprised at the festival.
Yeah. So, I guess we're getting you know, you've been a great guest. I want to thank you, Martin.
Thanks for having me.
I hope a lot of people see this. I hope a lot of people go to the event. I know David always says that.
Yeah, we like to have people realize that there are a tremendous number of opportunities for people in our area to enjoy life while enjoying our community, and that community is widespread in actually 3, 4, 5 county area around here. So again, things begin Thursday with one more run through of the schedule.
Thursday is the Eddie Frierson play and the memorabilia display. Friday is again more memorabilia on display, followed by the documentary of the Christy Mathewson days, and Saturday is the race, parade, and I guess we'll say fair down at the park.
One more thing I want to mention. Who did he actually play? Because I see here he played for a couple different teams, but his main team was
the New York Giants.
The New York Giants. That's where he's known. That's where he put up all the credits to make it to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
With the New York Giants. Well, we're out of time, and I want to thank Mark McLeory. Thank you, Mark. Anthony George, John Darcy, my co-host David DeCosmo. Dave, we've been together a long time.
Glad to be here.
We're glad to be here. And thank you so much for your kind remarks about Christy Mathewson, for filling us in on what's going on. Maybe you'll see me at the play Thursday night if I can get the time to go. So this is Tom Munley on behalf of my co-host David DeCosmo saying thank you for watching ECTV Live. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you again next week.